Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Gourmet Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join alongside Emilio in Tennessee for a few moments here. Anyway, Emilio, appreciate you jumping on. We got Tim in Green Bay. We'll have Jacob joining us here in a second. Obviously, it was the 10th open practice to the public today in Green Bay. Tim was boots on the ground. We're excited to dive into all the action. So what we're going to cover here tonight, we're going to give you an injury update. We're going to give you some Jordan Love highlights from practice. We'll give you some Matthew Golden highlights from practice as he continues to impress. We got defensive highlights, and then we're going to kind of do a quick rapid fire, just practice recap, everything that went on out there on the practice field today. But before we do that, you guys do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thanks for making us a part of your evening. Listen, we're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. What we are fans just like you in here talking Packers pretty much every single day. We're going to be doing pregame shows, postgame shows, in-depth analysis. We'll be doing film breakdown, the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for daily Packers content, make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you click that bell icon so you'll get notified every time we do go live. Emilio, Tim, we doing all right today, gents?
Yes, sir.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. Let's get into it. Tim, you were down there, boots on the ground at practice. Before we dive into all the details, I love to just get a minute, 2 minutes of what was the vibe like today? What was the weather like? How did it feel out there on the practice field today, man?
Still kind of crummy air quality, but the guys got their work in today and plenty of water breaks, the usual stuff. But the intensity continues to ratchet up. It seems like every practice is getting a little more and more intense. And I'm not going to spill the tea with names or anything, but I heard a couple of the coaches after practice, kind of on the walkthrough back over to the facility, making conversation about today being a medium or a hard day. And they both kind of confirmed that today was medium and tomorrow's going to be a hard day. So the intensity is going to step up even more tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to it for sure.
There you go. Good stuff, man. All right, let's get into the injury report. All right, so Packers public training camp practice number 10 returned today was tight end Tucker Kraft. He had a groin injury. Obviously, he sat out a family night, and he was back today. This is Wes Hodkiewicz with the update. Did not participate. Emilio, we have Emmanuel Wilson with the knee, Dontavion Wicks with the calf, Nate Hobbs with the knee. I want to just mention briefly, Nate Hobbs had a minor procedure done. Sound like it might have been a knee clean out. They're expecting him back for week 1 per Bill Huber. So
my knee.
Nothing to worry about there. We got tackle Rasheed Walker with the groin. He did not participate. Offensive lineman Travis Glover.
Oh, Emilio. Emilio, a Kleenex real quick. Wipe those tears.
Yeah, no worries.
No worries at all. He's just trying to give these other guys a chance to catch up, right?
Absolutely.
That's all it is. Cornerback Kamal Haddon with the hip. You had defensive lineman Aaron Mosby with the groin. Running back Marshawn Lloyd with the groin. Wide receiver Christian Watson with the knee, still working that rehab process. Defensive end Colin Oliver with the hammy. And offensive line John Williams. Now, listen, I feel like they're being extra cautious, and we're getting ready to get into preseason week 1. You see some of these guys, Emilio, that are probably going to be, you got several starters there, but you got some that's probably number 2s on the team. Yep. You want to make sure that this week, what it's all about, in my opinion, is the 3s and the 4s is what you really want to get a good look at, right, in the first week of preseason, and then get the rest of these guys back, get them shaped up, and, maybe the second and third game of preseason. I think this is mostly precautionary. I don't see anybody here that I'm like, probably going to start on the pup, other than, of course, our boy Christian Watson, maybe Colin Oliver since he's so far behind. But what do you think of the injury report here, Emilio?
Yeah, I think the only other person that has a chance for pup there would be John Williams with that back. The way Goody was talking about it earlier, it seemed like it would be kind of a long-term thing, but, we'll see. And to that point, it was either DJ and Buck or Greg Cosell. They were talking, you only get so much practice time, right? You only get so much game time. So you kind of do have to get through, like you were saying, 3rd and 4th now. Get them on there, get as much tape as you can because your time gets crunched down. You still need to make a decision on players. I think Matt was even talking about it. Hey, we're kind of all over and we really need to cinch it down, this week and the week after and try to figure out our position. What are you doing? How many reps? Not just sort of, basic and kind of more, broadcast, training and things like that. Let's try to clean it up. Let's figure out what we need, who we need to see out there, and kind of get those reps moving for them.
Yeah. What about you, Tim? How do you see it, buddy?
Yeah, I would agree with Emilio's point. A couple of the guys that I actually saw today doing their rehab was Tay Wicks and Emmanuel Wilson. They were doing some work on the medicine balls and just kind of testing mobility and things like that. They look pretty good. But yeah, this is just that unfortunate time. We actually made it, pretty far into training camp before we had any actual injury issues. I'm actually surprised we didn't get some of these popping up sooner. So I think you're right, man. Going into this year, we want to be as healthy as we can, but unfortunately, we haven't even played one preseason game. And, there's a handful of names here on this list that we would have really liked to see get some of those reps. And it looks like, at least for this week, we're probably not going to see them. Colin Oliver being the first name that comes to mind. That was a guy I was looking forward to seeing out there. So we'll see what happens with that hammy.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, we got Jacob joining us now. Obviously, we're just jumping into the injuries here and the injury update. Tucker Kraft returning, obviously great news here. And everything else is kind of pretty much still status quo here in terms of the injury report. Anything you want to add to that before we move along? Because we did have a signing today as well.
It's tough to see, like Tim said, this time of year. It seems like the injuries are starting to stack up, even though we were pretty privileged to not have many going into this. Have you talked about Nate Hobbs already?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your guys' thoughts on that? I just kind of heard it and didn't get much to delve into it. Is it something that's going to be ready for the start of the season, you think?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That's the plan.
Word on the street, right? That's what these Twitter screets are talking about right here. That he'll be a good to go for week one, hopefully. So hopefully missing the whole preseason doesn't affect him as far as like playing speed and everything. But I'm sure once he's good to go, they'll get him out there.
Yeah, that's what I was more worried about, was just what's going on with Hobbs. Obviously now we see why we signed a guy like Ballantyne, break glass in case of emergency, and how we've, me and Clay were looking at depth charts last night, and just overnight, all of a sudden that whole depth chart starts to look a lot different when you start looking at injuries like this. But I hope everything works out by the time we get the guys for week one. I think we'll be good.
Yeah, and like I was saying just before you hopped on, Jacob, Nate Hobbs sounded like it was just a minor procedure, a clean out. And I know Christian Watson's dad made a couple comments on Twitter.
Whoa. We've got new info, though, on Hobbs. It's not – I
thought it was a meniscus.
Yeah, meniscus.
Right, yeah, it was a minor tear, right, and they had to go in there and clean it out.
Right.
So
I love those. I had a C tear on the meniscus. I mean, it's like the film in between the two knuckles. When it's when it's rubbing around on the knee, it's that film in between them.
Yeah, so they probably had to go in there and get some of that excess out. I would imagine is probably what happened, Amelia. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, if it wasn't a full tear or anything like that, because, I mean, it kind of looks like a disc almost, and I had a C tear, so it kind of came across all the way down. But if it wasn't torn or anything, I'm sure they just kind of cleaned up some of the fluid or whatever's kind of hanging around there.
Yeah, now listen, things could go wrong. Don't take this the wrong way. Like it could take a turn for the worse, but the vibe I'm getting is everything's good. Give him a couple weeks off of it, and then get him in practicing the week before, probably that where we don't have a preseason game there that final week of the preseason, if you will, right? And get him back in the practice fold. Hopefully he doesn't kill any of our offensive players out there on the field, and we'll be all right. You know what I mean? So I know there were some rumors that's, hey, is this Matt LaFleur saying, let's just hold him out until we get to the regular season so he doesn't hurt anybody? I think that's kind of silly, me personally.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I think it was legit an injury. Just like with our boy Elton Jenkins, I think he legit had something going on with his back, it seems like. It doesn't mean he didn't want a contract early on, but yeah. So I don't see it as anything to worry about right now, Jacob, since you were kind of asking. But you never know, man. Sometimes things can happen. I know when they had Nate Hobbs in the locker room earlier today, he seemed very upbeat, very, very upbeat.
I was going to just quick ask about your comment. Did you happen to watch his interview where he mentioned how strong he is in his faith and how he believes that this is just God testing him? And like, dude, I really have grown to love Nate Hobbs. And that's why I was at work all day, and I just saw in a group message, one of my Viking fans was like, there goes Hobbs. And my heart sank. I was like, no. And I didn't get a chance to really, like I said, get into the details until the ride home. And just hearing the kid talk, man, the way that like you said, you got to respect a guy that doesn't give a crap what you think about his faith and the way he talks about it. And I was just very impressed with him.
Yeah, when your Vikings fan buddy there said, "There goes Nate Hobbs," did you say, "There goes Jordan Addison"?
I did actually. I took a screenshot of the TV at the time and I said, "Well, 1 for 1 here."
Yeah, so if you guys haven't heard, we'll be real quick here. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on Vikings talk, but the NFL suspended Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison without pay for the first 3 games of the 2025 regular season for violating the NFL substance of abuse policy. Addison is permitted to participate in all training camp activities, including preseason games. So there you go. Wide receiver number 2. I feel comfortable saying he's wide receiver number 2 in Minnesota. So
oh yeah.
What substance was he abusing?
I thought he got a DUI.
Ozempic?
That was a Dewey, yeah.
Yeah, Dewey. It was Uncle Dewey got him. Uncle Dewey slapped him right there on the ass. It happens. Happens with the best of them. All right, let's get back to the Packers talk. Sorry, I just had to work that in there, Jacob, since you wish we had the Vikings early this year. H.E. Soder says, see, I look at stuff different than that, Soder. I want these teams at their best, dude. I want them at their best. Obviously, we play the Vikings. It's going to be a little later in the season. We got them week 12, and then we got them the last week there too?
I believe it's 18, yep.
Week 18. So, yeah, I kind of like that's like with the Detroit Lions. You know, they're a little banged up, obviously, on the defensive front. But at the same time, I would rather them be fully healthy. That way there's no excuses. Let's go in there and just crack skulls, let the best team win type thing. So, yeah. Rob Domofsky had tweeted out another roster move. Wide receiver Sam Brown Jr. had a groin, has been waived injured. Okay. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. When they waive a player injured, that's typically it, right? Like they don't even try to bring them back later in the year. That's how I kind of remember these things playing. I want to say they when you waive them injured, don't you have some kind of injury settlement? And now they move on. They move on to another team. They can't be signed by the team that waived them. I could be wrong there, but nonetheless, we went and signed offensive lineman Lecitus Smith. All right. Now, obviously, he's been on the roster before, and I think this is just something like, hey, let's get a guy. It's much like the Corey Ballantyne situation, right? Get a guy in here, Tim, that is familiar with the team, knows the offense, just like Corey Ballantyne, probably has a pretty good grab of the defense, at least having a full year there with Jeff Hafley. So I like this. We'll see what happens. So what do you think?
It's moves like this that, you know, from my perspective as a fan, it gives me faith in my staff that we're doing what we need to do to cover our bases. You know, Jacob made a great comment about Ballantyne. You know, Ballantyne's not going to come in and be a world beater for you and be your you know, CB1 or anything. But he does. He raises the floor and he gives you a little bit of a security blanket in your DB room, which, you know, has kind of got a few question marks. Let's be honest. You know, I love our guys, but you know, there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and bringing in a steady pool of talent is going to help. And it applies the same logic to the O-line. I mean, we're still trying to figure out what's going on at left tackle, right? You know, we got to figure out backup center. We've got to figure out, you know, some pieces there. So I like the moves, man. I really do.
Yeah, Blake B says Lecitus 316, Emilio. I think that is thou shalt not take Travis Glover's job. Is that what that is?
Yeah, that is exactly what it says. Because as we need
Thou
to
shall not line up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, please. Please, we don't need that. Obviously, we're going to need somebody to take the reps. Someone's got to take the handoff. Someone's got to block for, you know, Malik, whoever else is out there. So I'm for it. You know, you got a couple injuries on the O-line. You would thought that you had, you know, John Williams playing, and he's not. So you got to make do with what you have.
Yeah, and here we go. One final injury update. Mike Spofford tweeted out linebacker Quay Walker taking his first 11-on-11 reps this summer for the Packers. Run D making things difficult for Josh Jacobs. Love not getting many clean pockets early either. Nice seam for Savion Williams on an end around. Then a bad shotgun snap. Defense continuing strong work from Family Night. So Quay Walker returns. We'll talk about that bad snap here in a little bit as Elton Jenkins continues to try to work the rust off there, missing some probably pretty valuable time since you're the new center. But Quay Walker's back. Tim, you have the floor here, and I want to get Jacob's take. This is exciting, man. This is kind of what we talked about, you know, is him. Let's ease him back into it and make sure he's ready for week 1.
It was so good to see that today. I was over there looking for him in the rehab group, and I didn't see that jersey, and I started scratching my head going, okay, where's Quay? Where's Quay? And then lo and behold, there he is running 11-on-11s with the team. So I would anticipate they're going to continue to increase his load further and further so that we can get him ready to go as quickly as possible without also rushing him back too soon. So this is a huge step for him in that rehab coming off that ankle surgery.
Yeah. Jacob, you got anything else on Quay here, man? It's great news, obviously, right?
Yeah. Ed Madden talking about what I'm most excited is to see these two monsters on the field at the same time. And if for whatever reason, if it is more of a traditional 4-3 type set, you add in a guy like either a McDuffie or Isaiah Simmons, which is kind of an unknown, that could be an absolute spark plug that we're not really thinking about that could really be a difference maker. And I know Matt LaFleur today, when asked about Quay, he said, he's the quarterback of the defense. So obviously when he's on the field, they're a better defense. And the more that they can have that continuity, play with each other, get comfortable, especially going into the second year with Half and that scheme that he's been implementing, it's just going to make, I think, a world of difference. And I don't think you're going to have many people that if you don't have that quarterback of the defense firing at all cylinders to start the year, it's tough to think that we're going to have that type of sophomore season that I believe Hafley's going to.
Definitely. Cheesehead Murph, everybody in the chat pointing out that I'm not following Mike Spofford here. So I have Mike Spofford added to a special list, so I get notified when he tweets. However, drum roll, boys, we're going to give him a follow. You ready?
Big money, no whammy.
Man, you guys missed it too. Tim popped that up.
Yeah, it's all fake. Yeah, it's all edited anyway. It doesn't matter.
There you go, boys. Mike Spofford has arrived. He's going, who the hell is this guy just following? What a weirdo.
At least it's not this guy, right?
That guy follows you too. He just follows you around the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? So.
This is the exact person you go to whenever you need a Werther's original.
Is it just me, or does that guy's check liver light look like it's on too? Like, seriously, he's running in the red on some Jack Daniels. You know what I mean? All right, let's move it along. Let's get into some highlights.
Broccoli.
What? What's wrong?
Just the chats, man.
Why do you do this to me every time, Jay? This is why we can't have nice things.
It's Emilio's fault.
Yeah, it's always Emilio's fault. All right, let's talk a little Jordan Love. Let's hit some of the highlights from earlier today. And this came in from the Fan 107.5, actually tweeted this clip originally. And you see our boy Jay Love just, putting it right on a dime, bang, on the run.
That's how you do it, Caleb.
That's how you hit the left side of the TV, right?
It's just he's looking good. The legs look good.
He does.
Somebody's going to clip that. The legs look good. It just he just seems like he's completely healthy, right, Emilio? And again, throwing across your body, running to your left, not an easy thing to do. And he just makes it look effortless, man. He really does. I think he's in a good place.
Downhill, put it on a line. I mean, that's all you can ask for. Put it in the bucket. Put it in the net. I love it.
What was that?
I was going to say put it in the bucket, but
okay.
No, but yeah, he does. He really does look great. I mean, I'm happy that his legs are back in good shape and back to use, man.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, how did he look out there today, man? Anything stick out to you about Jordan Love today?
I told you, man, he wears number 10 because he only throws dimes. J Money is he's ready. You can tell he's excited to be healthy and going into a season without anything holding him back really. And I can't wait to see them just turn him loose on a couple of these series here later on in the preseason. I'm not sure how often we'll see him early, but I'm looking forward to seeing J Money run this offense. Malik Willis was hitting on some of these throws too. Another one of our passers that's great, rolling left and throwing across the body. But yeah, Jordan looks like he's in the best shape of his life. You can tell he's taken steps, physically and mentally, really, as a player and as a leader on this team. So it's just fun to see him out here humming that tater, as we say, right?
Yeah, and Jacob, before I see Mark's comment here, I was actually going to mention this, man. He says, are his legs bigger? To me, it looks like he put on a little muscle this year, look a little bit thicker. And Jacob, I know you working out at the club, you know all about this. So what do you think here? Let's break it. Love put on a little bit of good weight this offseason?
I think so. I think he's young enough and old enough at the same time to remember that when Aaron Rodgers kind of had those revitalized seasons, that he emphasized how he worked out his legs a lot more than he ever did. And then obviously after Love suffers an unfortunate groin injury and then some other kind of tweaks here and there throughout the season, maybe it sparked something in his mind. Hey, man, I got to start doing some what Hurts isn't Hurts the guy that can squat like 600 pounds or whatever the case is. I'm not saying Jordan's up to that level, but maybe he threw a couple extra plates on this season and now he's repping like Emilio in the garage. You know what I mean?
Ooh, you know it.
No. So this tweet came out from our good buddy Baz over at Basarski Productions. I would say, hey, go give him a follow, go give him a YouTube sub, but I promise you, he don't need us to say that. My man is cooking over there. If you guys are following his channel, which I'm sure you are, great content. I mean, there's nobody better than Baz. But he posted this clip here, and I think it actually came from Pat Clips. Shout out to him. You see, I am following him or her,
Nice.
right? But nonetheless, love to Dobbs for the deep touchdown. Guys, look at this right here. Will somebody come look at this? Watch this dime picture. Look, just drop back, clean pocket, let that thing rip. And Dobbs' hands, the way Dobbs goes below the hip, Emilio, and just snags this ball, does it not look effortless, Emilio?
That's one of those where it's like I was in cover 4 and somehow the third receiver beat me deep with a streak, and you got 3 dudes running after him, and you're never catching him. I love that he got under it, gave him a chance. And dude, if we start seeing some of that in the season, it's over. I mean, perfect pocket, build a wall around J Love, protect that man, and let him hum it.
Yeah, and listen, I will say this: Romeo obviously last year was up and down, the suspension, the 2 concussions, blah blah blah. He's playing for his career this year. Like it is a contract year, and whether or not the Packers want to re-sign him, Jacob, one thing's for sure: there's another team that's going to look to pick him up if the Packers do decide to move on. And you know what? That's good news for us too. If the Packers don't sign him and someone else pays him borderline wide receiver 1 money, and somebody pays Rasheed Walker borderline number 1 tackle money, you're talking about a flurry of comp picks.
We're getting some nice picks there. I agree. Then I guess that's one way of looking at it, trying to keep the glass half full, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And I think that's a smart way to go about it. Don't get your hopes up too much, and also understand that worst case scenario still means that we get some pretty good draft compensation where, on any given draft, I know that we could to have an extra 3rd or a 4th or even a 5th. It really does add up when you start seeing the way that we've dive deep into these drafts. And, I do think too, that just to note that I do obviously believe that a lot of different teams would be knocking on Dobbs's door if it comes to that point. I think what's more impressive too is the way that I think he's matured as a person. We have the clips, we have the memes, of all of the funny stuff that he's done.
I just caught the ball.
Perfect, right on time. And he's I think understood that his demeanor, while sometimes it's unique and a little cool, edgy, whatever you want to say, he does have to kind of show that he's okay and that he enjoys football, he enjoys his teammates, he enjoys the city. I think he's grown.
Yeah, and Tim, one thing that I love about the Romeo Dobbs and how he's arguably got the best hands on the team now, that wasn't the case when he got to the NFL. I remember the reports coming out that he was staying after practice on the jugs machine because he kept dropping the ball, right? And this is a perfect example of people like Dontavion Wicks, or maybe it's Savion Williams, who had a pretty high drop rate in college. If you get on the jugs machine, you can fix that. That can be fixed, and gives you a lot of hope. What do you think about Rome here, man? I mean, he cooked the defense, and then late hands, beautiful, man.
Yeah, awesome. And I think a lot of it is him doing those drills, the jugs machine and the hand-eye coordination drills. I think Rome's big issue when he had the drop problem was he wasn't looking them all the way in. You got to look that ball in sometimes, especially when you're streaking down the field, tracking a ball at 50, 60 yards in the air. If you take your eye off for 1 second at the end, you're going to drop the ball. So I think his hand-eye coordination's improved. And, like to the point about, Rome's demeanor, in the media or in the locker room, post-game, that kind of stuff. I tell you, when he's on that football field, he's a totally different person. I think the football field is Rome's happy place. I think he's extremely talkative, definitely smiles a lot on the football field, and is definitely more outgoing. So, on the field is where you really see that personality shine. And, we can talk about, the type of compensation we're going to get for a guy like this in a potential trade. And it's true, and it does bode well for our organization, but I don't want to see Rome going anywhere, man. I'm way too old for this. I don't know if I'd predict it and say that he's not going anywhere, because anything can happen in this business, but the fan in me wants 87 on this team. I think he makes this already dynamic receiving room that much better. I really like Romy Rome.
Yeah,
I think that's true. Just real quick, we do have a jugs machine at the club. It's just a little different, but I work that thing.
All right, moving along. So Baz with another tweet here from Pat Clips, and this is Jayden Reed cooking Javon Bullard. Javon Bullard, listen, he sparked a lot of conversation today, and people were piling on him pretty hard. Guys, we're not going to be playing as much man coverage as you're seeing in training camp. So the beautiful thing about Bullard's game, plays really well in zone, right? Plays really well out of the slot, in my opinion, way better than safety. It's going to be very, very rare that they're going to ask him to play a mirror match press, which is essentially what you've got here, against a 2, right? Not a number 2 receiver, but in the 2. It's going to be rare that happens. Most of the time, going to be in a zone look. So with that being said, I'm not overly concerned about Bullard, but this is just Jayden Reed. And I seen 2-0 for this comment. I got to respectfully disagree with that. I think it was 2-0 for this that said about Dobbs over Reed, I believe, trade Reed. Reed has been so much more productive than Dobbs, and Reed did it, in a shorter amount of time. To me, Reed is the guy that kind of makes this offense go from a receiver standpoint. I could be wrong, though, man. We may be looking up in a month or two, and you're right, and he is the one that gets dealt. Maybe they extend Dobbs. I like them both, and I love to have them both on the roster for the entirety of the season because I think that's going to play a huge role. You're getting a motivated Romeo Dobbs, and you're getting a Jayden Reed that led the team in receiving the last 2 years. I don't know, man. And obviously, he can do a lot of other things as well, but this is just another perfect example of what's the footwork on Jayden Reed here, Jacob. I mean, just very, very subtle. If I can loop it, maybe. Let's see if we can loop it. Look at the bang inside out and just a foot race and beats Bullard. Guys, you remember Bullard had a hell of an RAS, right? Like he was in the upper 9, if I remember correctly, like above a 9.5. Maybe somebody wants to fact check that. He's definitely over 9 RAS. And this is just Jayden Reed. He's just faster guy. And again, subtle, smooth right there, a little stutter step inside, Jacob, and then cooking him on the 9 fade.
Yeah, I don't think that Bird's going anywhere. He's just been the most consistent player, I believe, also in that wide receiver room. Obviously, we struggled with some drops more than we would like last year, but all of them did. And that's not an excuse, but it is what it is. As far as production-wise, I agree with you. As far as just him kind of finding that zone, him coming in another year where he just understands the system. He's got more continuity with the coaches, with the playing, the scheme that LaFleur's asked him to do, and his individual role on the team. I think each year gets a little more defined. And I whereas years past, I don't want to see him back return a punts. Okay, just stop that. We don't need to do it anymore. It's not his niche on this team. But in other ways, I think we need to let him grow and find certain other things. And we've got some younger guys. We got some quicker guys, some gadget guys. So maybe just let him focus on being a very highly touted route runner and actually executing and maybe being, and I could see him honestly becoming more of, I don't want to say the X receiver, but just kind of a go-to for Love.
Yeah, I can see it. And again, I've talked about this, Tim. People just see him predominantly as a slot receiver, and that's not what the tape showed. The tape showed that he can play outside, and it's much what Greg Cosell talked about throughout the draft process, not specifically Jayden Reed's year coming out in the draft, but just, really talking about Matthew Golden this year, saying, hey, look, people are looking at slot reps, when in all honesty, they may start in a slot and they motion out and you turn into a moving Z and you're running outside choice concepts,
Exactly. And it's fun to watch him at the practice field working with Matthew Golden. We talk about iron sharpening iron, right? Like, I think Bird's going to be instrumental in the development of Matthew Golden. We've got a tape for days of footwork for Matthew Golden that looks like a guy that's been playing in the NFL for 10 years already. And, he's, barely getting his feet wet here as a rookie. So guys like Jayden Reed make your football team better, And then as far as, Javon Bullard getting cooked here, guys, 90% of DBs get cooked in these type of drills.
No
doubt.
The
best in the business get cooked routinely in these one-on-one kind of press coverage type of drills. It's more of I think they're looking more at the receiver, right? I mean, it's a receiver-led type drill, quarterback drill. But in Bullard's defense, I mean, he doesn't quit on the play. He knows he's cooked right there, but he's going to close out and, not quit on the play. You love that in him. And we've always known that coverage is not his strong suit. So, the more he works on it, if he can make that an attribute to his game, then, We can talk about him, being a true, cover corner. I think that's why they decided to keep him listed as a safety, even though they're going to drop him into the slot on occasion. I think we might get to see some Javon Bullard, playing back there. I don't know if necessarily post safety, but maybe swapping spots with Evan Williams on a few of these looks we could see. But at the end of the day, Bull is a bulldog, right? And he's gonna be that slot bully that you want. I'm not too worried about a little bit of shaky coverage there on a one-on-one. Like Clay was saying, we're not going to ask him to do that a lot. It's going to be playing a lot of zone.
Real quick, Bates did say that he had an 8.25 RAS. I'm not sure if that was under the safety or the cornerback moniker, but I agree kind of what Tim just said is what Coach Len's saying.
It was safety, Jake. It was safety.
Safety. Okay, so he thinks that Bill will be in on early downs, probably playing maybe in that slot position to try to control that run, and depending on the down and distance, will probably snap back, let him, obviously Evan and X take control of that, and that to me right now would be the perfect way to utilize him, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so another guy getting a little practice time. Shout out to Ryan Wood over on X for this video. Jordan Love getting a rep in with Packers rookie Savion Williams. Nothing flashy here, right? But you'll notice the far side receiver, and you see Savion. I think he runs a little curl route, right? Chop it down, grab and go. It's a big old boy right there at wide receiver, guys. Really excited to see what Savion can do. That's another guy, Tim. Going to see him in preseason, man. Hopefully, right? Let me ask you that. Obviously today, was he limited today, or was he just full participation? Have we seen him in 11-on-11 yet, Tim? Do you know for sure or not?
I didn't personally, but possibly. I know today's the most action we've seen out of him in a while. So I think he was a full go.
Yeah, you can probably understand where I'm going here. I'm wondering, is he going to play against the Jets? So we wait another week, then try to get him some preseason reps the following week. I don't really know, but nonetheless, man, Savion, it's exciting. Him and Matthew. Is that Matthew Golden here on the near side too?
Side 22. Yep.
Dude, he's so smooth, man.
He is.
And the way he catches, watch Savion. There's nothing that Savion really does wrong here, Jacob. Watch him catch the ball. Okay. Now watch Matthew Golden catch the ball. There's just something about Matthew Golden. It's just the way he snatches, he attacks the ball. Bang.
Yep.
Upfield. It's just, he's smooth as butter, man.
He said that numerous times. If that ball's up in the air, I'm gonna go get it. I'm not waiting for that ball to get to me. I'm gonna bring that ball in. And you love that in him. But Savion, again, one of those guys, if it were up to me, for my money, get him on the field as soon as possible. If he's good to go, he's cleared, and he can play against the Jets on Saturday, I say get him out there and get him a lot of reps. And let's see how consistent he can stay on the field. That to me has been the big concern. He had the shoulder issue. We knew that when we drafted him. We had a little concussion scare, a couple other things going on. And it's part of the game, right? It's football. You're going to get banged up. Things happen. But I want to see, are you the type of player that can bounce back and get back to the field and, not be a guy that's missing multiple weeks due to injuries. We've seen that numerous times with young receivers, and it sucks, right? It's frustrating. It can kind of screw up your development. You can't make the club in the tub. So it's good to see him out there catching passes, and hopefully we see him this weekend in the preseason.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's move along to some Matthew Golden highlights. Shout out to
Ryan. This is the one right here.
Yeah, man.
Oh, my goodness. You want to see some footwork. Woo.
Yeah, you're going to see. We're going to show 3 or 4 clips here, right? And this one's from Ryan Wood. But just he's just so smooth. There's one that's a dig. Woo-hoo-hoo, boy. Let's watch it, though. Let's see our boy Matthew Golden here. And this is just against coaches. This is slow motion. There's no wasted movement whatsoever when it comes to 22, right? Again here, so going to chop it down, little hitch route. This is what he did well at Texas. Now he's going to toe tap it here, I believe.
Yes. Look at the feet.
Yeah. And at Texas, if you'll remember, Texas, he would take that. He would curl in, fade out, and then bend back inside and make them miss, right? This is just simply what I've always called a hitch route. Maybe you guys know it as something else. Maybe it's a comeback. There's, different. I've always heard hitch out, curl in. You may call it something different, but Jacob, man, the hands, is he not smooth, man? Look at that. 4 feet in on that play.
Yeah, that's crazy. Just the precision, the route running, the way that you said it looks effortless. I laughed because apparently on this post or whatever, Too Old for This says that someone asked why the ball took so long to get there, and Ryan Wood replied, "It's in slow-mo." But even though it is slow-mo, I mean, like you said, the no wasted movement. You watch how he cuts in and out of routes. It's very impressive. And the way that he turns back and is able to see that sideline and then get the 4 mini chop steps up in there, that's impressive, guy.
I saw Bears fans hating on the post. I know you saw some of that, Clayton. Oh, everybody looks good in slow motion.
Not Caleb.
Like, I would disagree. I think slow motion magnifies your flaws even more. If you're, you're going to see it easier. The fact that he looks so smooth like this, it's a sign that I think we've got a star wide receiver for sure.
Yeah, Coach Lynn said that was a 22-yard comeback, I believe he said, right? And that's Jordan that throws that. And you can see as he fades out of the picture, he's looking left, right? And then fire into the right. So obviously hold the safety, hammer the comeback. Now watch in the background here, you'll see Savion Williams run a slant route. If you'll watch now off to the side, you'll see him come into the picture. Let's watch his hands on this play in ultra slow motion before we move along. So you see Savion, that's kind of a lazy route. That's all right, though. He's still getting the swing of things. Pretty good hands grab, right? Watched it in. So we're good there. But, yeah, Matthew Golden looking good, man, no doubt about it. We got another clip here, Tim. This might be one of them that you were thinking of, too. This is tweeted out by Jacob Morley, and it came from Pack Clips as well. And this is Matthew Golden. I think he is absolutely cooking Keyshawn Nixon. Another example, man coverage. We'll see if it's actual press or mirror match press man. But 1 versus 1s will always favor the offense. Thank you, Jacob Morley, for putting that out there. This guy knows ball. But this is Chris, not a 7-second TikTok route. Not sure what that was. With fancy feet. Concise, quick separation is what wins in this league. Golden has got it. Let's watch this route here, boys. This is crispy. Listen, viewer discretion is advised. If you got kids in the room, cover their eyes, all right? This is filthy. Look, off the prep. Woo! Gone.
Wow.
I mean, that's like 5 yards of separation instantly, right? Here, bye, I'm gone. Look at that. Look at all that space.
And that's not full press, right? You see Key is trying to reroute him outside. Yep. So you can tell he's kind of playing with some outside technique there. But look at Golden, he's so smooth. The way he stops, Jacob. Watch his feet right here.
That change of direction while the feet are moving that quickly is almost unbelievable. Look at that.
This is what you've seen all over the college tape. We talk about body. I think it was it might have been Drew who saw it earlier. He knows where he's at on the field at all times, right? Drew says here, who can stop like that? Body control, man. I'm telling you, body control, Tim, and balance is so underrated in the league. It doesn't we always talk about 40 times and acceleration and this and that and what is it? Vertical jumps and composite explosion grade, all those things. Balance, man, is huge.
And body control. Balance and body control. I think this rep highlights it. If you look at Matthew Golden's head the whole time he's running the route. He's never getting down or off center. He's not allowing himself to waste any motion because he's got such good posture and balance in the route. I mean, we talked about that before the draft when we were looking at Texas tape about him just not wasting any motion whatsoever. He runs very crisp, compressed, concise routes. And I mean, he just absolutely cooks here and makes it look too easy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we got a couple more clips here. This next one comes in from Marcus Eversole. I don't know. Is he still doing his show, Better Call Eversole? I used to listen to that all the time, and it was a great show. I don't know. Sometimes the algorithm gets kicked around, but he just said Matthew Golden content. All right, so we'll see if we can get in there, make sure we don't get no curse words. But look at that. So that's the hitch we've seen. It's not in slow motion, so now you've seen it in full speed here, right? Got Dobby there watching off on the sideline too. Not sure if he was holding his side. Might have caught something we wasn't supposed to there. I don't know. But, yeah, Matthew Golden, man, just smooth as butter. Let's go to the next one. So here's just a quick little sit route, right? A little sit. You can call it a curl, what have you. Again, watch the feet. Watch how quick he gets into this setup here. Bang. And we're gone. That is so smooth, man. And it just for a rookie, Jake, the attention to detail, I'm sure Coach Lynn is just over here losing his mind. The attention to detail and the footwork right there. Like, notice how there's no stumbling into the sit. Watch his right foot bang, right?
That is just precise.
Yeah.
You talk about attention to detail, of course, Afam in the chat. That ref really earning that check. That would be you, Afam. You would see the referee in the clip as we're breaking down tape.
Yeah, exactly. But is it just not smooth? I mean, Golden.
Yeah, my head keeps wanting, or my brain keeps wanting to say it's effortless, which I feel like is almost a double-edged compliment because it seems like that as if he's not trying. That's not the case. I'm just saying it looks just so smooth. The transitions, the steps, the footwork, the plant step, everything just looks effortless.
Yeah.
I like to spin after the catch. Some guys, they start that rotation a little early and they forget the football. You see him secure a catch and then outside. It's perfect.
And knowing too that he's going to turn outside, get the ball on the outside shoulder before you make your cut. Bang. Yep. Right. Protect the football. Coach Lynn says it's a one-step sit. What were you going to say, Jay?
No, I don't know why, but when I saw that, I just picture somebody right before the rep being like, Golden, don't do the twirl. He says, I'm not going to do the twirl. And then he catches it. I'm going to do the twirl.
Love it. And off in the background, is that Savion running a quick little, look at that. Nice little, there's a low throw too from Taylor Elgersman. He showed some hands back here. You see what I'm saying in the background?
Mm-hmm.
So Savion showing some whoop, right? Pulled it in. All right. So there you go. There is your magic.
Rookies are going to do just fine with the occasional bad ball. They dealt with it a lot in college.
Yeah.
There you go. Anything else on Matthew Golden, boys, before we move on to the next topic here?
Yeah, Offensive Rookie of the Year 2025. Let's go.
Book it.
Yep. Love it. All right. So there you go, Matthew Golden highlights. All right. That's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side for hour two, where we're going to continue with we're going to give you a little Brandon McManus update. Man, he is kicking lights out in camp. And then we're going to switch over to the defensive side of the ball, show you some highlights from training camp on defense. But we'll see you over there. We appreciate you.